Hey, this is Nicholas with the Backyard TARDIS here for another Backyard TARDIS Random Thoughts podcast. This time we're going to talk about something I've been teasing for a while, and that is Marvel's What If cartoon. And I just kind of wanted to go through, talk about each episode, break it down. I don't really know how long this video will be, if it'll be a shorter one, or end up being a long one. But definitely these episodes were very different in tone, and while they did kind of tie together in an end, we'll get to there. They were hit or miss for me. Some I really enjoyed, some were less than enjoyable, shall we say. So let's start off the back. The first one, Captain Carter. What if Captain Carter was the first Avenger? This is one I see that a lot of people weren't into. But for me, this is one of my favorite episodes. One, because it kind of follows beat per beat the first movie, but it doesn't leave Steve Rogers out. It keeps him involved. Having him being in kind of like having Tony's dad make like the early kind of Iron Man prototype that Tony kind of had based his thing off of, that he had seen his dad working on to give Tony Stark. To give not Tony Stark, to give Steve Rogers powers after he didn't receive the serum, was great. One of the reasons why I love this is because if you've not seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Agent Carter series, it's on Disney+. I highly recommend it. That is, while Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. itself went way up and down, but I don't think at any point Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hit the level of Agent Carter. That was just top tier. It needs to be considered part of the MCU. I know they've kind of taken Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and distanced them from that, and they've distanced the Netflix shows, but Agent Carter needs to be considered MCU canon. It is just great. So next one we have, what if T'Challa became a Star-Lord? This one I have very mixed feelings on. We got Chadwick Boseman voicing in this, and that is, after having his loss, it adds a lot of emotional weight to this, and I really like his character, and I do think that things would be different if he was that, but the notion that he gave Thanos a talking to and changed Thanos' mind, I have a really, really hard time grasping that. And to think that, people like Steve Rogers, or just any of the ones that he's encountered, that none of them could eloquently come up with a way to talk him out of it, but that, of all things, T'Challa was able to. Like, I could get him turning the Ravengers into good guys. I could get him doing a lot of the things, but him turning Thanos, that just was too much for me. Now, funny hearing Thanos constantly bring it up as the running joke. Like, it was funny, and I liked the flip-flop back and forth thing, but that was the thing, is like overarching, having Thanos just kind of be, hey, I'm one of the team, I'm a good guy now. Because, T'Challa took down and gave me perspective. It just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. That, ruins the episode for me. So, while there was a lot to love in this episode, especially having Chadwick Boseman voice it, that kind of killed the episode for me and put it on one of my lowers on the list. And it's sad to say that. Next one, the third episode, was What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes? And this one we got to see evil Ant-Man. This one had, what if, Fury had sent the Wasp on a mission that got her killed, and that caused the original Ant-Man to to go rogue and to use his powers to take out the Avengers. What I find interesting, though, and this is before the Avengers were truly assembled, when they do this, it is before um, you know, they have him take out Thor, and that brings Loki. And then Loki, instead of deciding to conquer Earth, is now going to avenge Thor. And then he, of course, Fury convinces him that you can do that through me. I will help you find the person. And so then they have this showdown at the end where Loki helps take him. But then, of course, Loki double crosses him and sets up a situation for later. But a lot of people had problems with like how the Hulk or different ones were taken out. Now, one of the things that to keep in mind that could be done, because they didn't like how the Hulk is powerful. How could Ant-Man expanding inside him? That was the big thing of like, how do you take out Thanos? And everybody was the meme. Ant-Man just needs to go inside of him and blow up. He could make any part of the Hulk get bigger. So he could make the Hulk's heart expand bigger than the size of the Hulk. So say if Ant-Man tried to expand, and that would have killed him. But maybe he didn't expand, and when you look at it, he doesn't really like burst out of him. So he made his insides get bigger than his outsides. And that is what killed the Hulk. So to me, I didn't have a problem with that. But I know some people did. This, to me, was actually a really good episode. I really enjoyed it. Number 4. Now we're going to go really dark. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of use of his hands? So what if, instead of him being messed up, the love of his life was killed in that car accident, and he would still seek out, would still become the Sorcerer Supreme, would still, seek out these advanced powers and abilities, but instead he would be all consumed with changing the past. And doing that, he would violate natural laws. And in the end, he ends up destroying the universe in on himself, having consumed so much power that where he continues to exist, but his whole universe is gone. This one was dark. If this show is for kids, don't show this to your kids. This is a dark episode. Watching somebody brutally murdered over and over again while someone else tries to save them shows that this is not a kid's cartoon. Whereas like the next episode is gory, this one is just it's emotionally dark, a very dark place. Do not make this the last episode you watch on a watch through, because it will leave you feeling very sad. The next one, what if zombies? So what if the zombie apocalypse, some alien zombie bug gets on one of the Avengers, they bring it back to Earth, and they all start getting turned into zombies. The idea that Vision would become evil if somebody infected Wanda was really good to me, because it played off of WandaVision. We saw Wanda. She wasn't evil, but she was doing some evil stuff because she was trying to hold on to the love of Vision. And so seeing the opposite play through was really good to show that really it worked both ways. But seeing them do that, seeing at the end Thanos and them becoming the zombies, this was fun kind of episode. A bit gory, a bit, you could have all the characters that. This was the first time in the MCU that they mentioned Peter Parker's Uncle Ben. And, some of that is because of all the legalities, and Sony doesn't want MCU Uncle Ben. Weird stuff that was set up when Spider-Man first happened, and now they don't like retroactively going back to do Spider-Man's origins, but there was reasons why they didn't initially. And so it was cool to see that they were able to explore that here, and it would be interesting if they explored a cartoon set in the Spider-Man MCU universe. They could give us a lot of that. I would really love that. Okay, next one. What if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark? This one seemed way out of left field. there seemed no reason why Killmonger would have been there to save Tony Stark. There wasn't like, oh, I was just in the neighborhood and I saved your life. That made no sense. The setup for this is like they had a situation they wanted. They wanted basically to give a scenario where Killmonger won in Wakanda, where he had the backing of Tony Stark, which allowed him to have a different end, to see Black Panther play out a different way. But the initial setup of why Tony Stark is indebted to him, it just doesn't work for me. And it really felt like, his character, he has a whole different opportunity, a whole different way of taking everything. But we kind of had explored previously that he's not inherently evil. He is a good person misguided by the way society has raised him, put him up. And it is a good tale of helping us understand that, people who do bad things in the world because they face injustice are not themselves evil. However, they're also not necessarily right or just in taking violent action to repair things society has done wrong to them. It was a really good, balanced, and had a very good moral connection to Black Panther movie. This felt like it undercut that movie a lot because it basically said, no, he's actually evil. And we're going to see this come up later. He's actually evil. It is not as ambiguous as the show made it. It is not like, well, we see that there's actually good in him, but the world has spit him out in a way that he is misguided and he's willing to do evil things to accomplish what he thinks is good. No, he's just kind of evil. Well, okay. That's that. Next off, we have what I consider the worst one of this discussion. And that is, what if Thor was an only child? First off, they have this idea that Thor, who was just on Asgard, has all the, he's mixing around with all the people from Thor Ragnarok, where he's blasted off in Midgar's space, not in the other realms where normally Thor interacts with. So all of these people are his buddy now. Now, why would they be his buddy if he didn't even know them by this point in his life before? That makes no sense. He comes to Earth and he is basically a frat boy. Before, he was looking for a fight. He was looking for Ori and Glaner. And they're saying without Loki being the trickster, constantly being that it wouldn't have molded him into the need to be the hero. I do think that the lesson that he learns while on Earth, he loses his powers, and he learns the lesson while he battles Loki to gain his powers back. Yes, he wouldn't have learned that lesson, but I think that his foolhardiness and readiness for battle was not due to the fact that he had a brother named Loki. And making this party frat boy just wrecking the Earth, I did like that they showed that him and Captain Marvel were pretty even, though having her call his mom, it was ridiculous. And then later on, when he is picked for the team, everyone has a groan, okay, the Watcher, you are, could you have picked a worse version of Thor? Yeah. Okay. So that's the lowest point. Now, number 8, what if Ultron won? This was a very close thing that Ultron could have won, so what if he won and he ruled the Earth? And then Thanos came to the Earth. And Ultron, with the Vision body, would have had the ability to kill Thanos. And you go, well, no, Thanos had the technology that allowed him to depower Vision. So why? Because Vision had a level of humanity that stopped him. The Jarvis AI stopped him from being just ultimate lethal. And so Ultron went for the head. He did a death blow instantly to Thanos, took the things. Had Thor chopped off Thanos' head, he could have won. He didn't realize that. He didn't realize how much power that, but Ultron did. And there's a lot of fan theories that everything that Ultron was talking about, the future and all that, and Wanda and all that he actually foresaw Thanos coming. Like, he took all the data from the internet that he was gathering, and he was able to figure out Thanos was coming. And so that's an interesting theory, that he was right. He was wrong, and that he was destroying humanity, but he was trying to protect the planet, protect the universe, so to speak. But then they go, he wouldn't be satisfied with Earth. He would go out into space, and once he had the Infinity Stones, and then they had at the end, he found the Watchers. And it's interesting, they show that only the non-really superpowered Avengers, they're the only ones left. And they're looking for Zoloft as a computer program that is not just a regular computer program that could actually fight Ultron. And this was funny and kind of interesting how they did when they brought Zoloft back. And I really liked that storyline. And I also thought it was interesting that they put some of my favorite Avengers, the Avengers that are not powered, would be the last to live. One, because Ultron would probably rank them the lowest. And two, our regular heroes, they're not covert. They would go out and directly attack at Ultron until he beat them down and won. Whereas these would be more stealthy and would find ways to evade him. And it gave me a very Terminator vibe. Really good. That brings us into the last episode, and that's episode 9. What if the Watchers broke his oath? And they show them looking for Zoloft, right? And the Watchers, no, don't give up now. And he's kind of like whispering in their ears. This gave me a Stargate vibe, like when they're looking for the information to defeat the Ori, and she's just giving him just the littlest hints, but she's pretending that she's not helping them. And Daniel Jackson realizes that the computer hologram is actually a real agent and not a computer hologram, and he calls her out on it. Really kind of a similar thing, but the Watcher does that. And you see that Ultron breaks through into the Watcher's realm. He's battling the Watcher, and the Watcher has ridiculous, insane power. But despite that, Ultron is overwhelming him, and you think these other people, they paled insignificant to the Watcher, but still he pulls these different ones from all the episodes that we've seen to create basically like the Guardians of the Multiverse, the Avengers of the Multiverse, whatever you want to call it. And some of these are different ones are losers, different things, and they show that they do this almost in a way that he specifically gets not the best, because he already plans how Killmonger is going to backstab them. He's got everything, and Zoloft is going to backstab them, and so it is Zoloft and that like all backstab, eliminate the bad out. And I think that was wise. That was good. I like the happy ending for Natasha. They put her into a reality that had previously been destroyed, and they bring in the all-powerful Doctor Strange, and he's really almost as OP up to Ultron. And so Ultron really eventually figures out he's the only one keeping them alive. This is a good way to take all these little off on their own stories and bring them all together. Still, I don't know why you brought in Party Boy Thor. I don't fully understand that. There seems to be a missing episode because we see a brief glimpse of Gamora and Tony Stark defeating Thanos' plans. And I think this was originally supposed to be a 10-episode thing. I think there originally was an episode following where Gamora defeats Thanos. And that should have been... we should get that. I feel weird that we have like this callback, like this whole episode is a callback to previous episodes, and we don't have that episodes, and that sounds like Gamora and Tony Stark together. Like that actually sounds like a concept that would interest me. So I'm curious to see why it was a budget. The animation studio just didn't have the time. Why was that one the cut? Why couldn't they have cut Party Boy Thor and put that one in? I don't know. Anyways, those are my thoughts on What If. This has turned out to be a little bit of a shorter one. I think it's worth a watch. Go in knowing that not every episode is going to be firing on all cylinders, and from what I've listened to other people talking, not everybody is excited about the same episodes. There are a few episodes that everybody seems to like, but it seems like episodes that I say I dislike, I see other people say that it's their favorite episode, and I've seen other episodes that I absolutely adore, like just trash that episode. So the very nature of What If really depends on your personal taste. But at the end of the day, you get to take this with a grain of salt. Is it part of the MCU? Well, the MCU is a multiverse of different worlds happening. So yes, it is technically part of the MCU. It is part of canon, but it is not the main line canon. So everything that happens in here, you don't have to get upset at it. You don't have to be in things. This is where they get to play around, experiment, do things normally that maybe we wouldn't accept, and get to have some fun. So that's my suggestion. Watch it and have some fun. Well, with that, I will catch you in the next video.